Welcome to the Sales Influence Podcast, where we talk about finding the why in how people buy. I'm your host, Victor Antonio. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for lending me your ears. Today, I want to talk about an interesting topic. Oh, you're going to love this one. Let's talk about sales agency. Sounds intriguing already. Now, I am married, and sometimes when I get home or get back from a trip, my wife asks me for my opinion. My wife's like, she'll say something like, what should we do for dinner? And I'll say something like Mexican. She goes, we already did that. Just like that. We already did that. Or she'll say, what color should we paint the living room? I respond with, brown. She goes, too dark. Okay? Or how about this one? She asked me this last week. Hey, what should we plant in the backyard this coming summer? I said, I don't know. How about some hydrangeas? She goes, they just don't look right. Now, these type of answers really shut down a conversation. So, my wife, instead of saying, and we could also consider, she always shuts down the conversation. No. And I've made her aware of this, that when she talks to me sometimes, she just shuts me down. Just boom, Mexican, not right. Brown, not too dark. Hydrangeas, just not going to look good. And so I realize that maybe we do that sometimes without really thinking about it. That we ask somebody a question, they give us an opinion, and then we just shoot it down, bang, bang, right there in front of them. Well, that's going to motivate other people not to want to give you their opinions anymore. And so I figured, okay, now I can't control how my wife responds. Remember, I'm always about control what you can control, and I can't control how other people respond, but I do have control over how I ask the question, or how I can respond, rather. So if I'm asked a question, for example, where should we go for dinner? In the past, I would say Mexican. What do you think of that? And she'd go, no. Again, we already did that. So today I would say something like this. Well, Mexican sounds good. I know we had it last week, but they have a big menu and, we can actually order different things, or we can just do some Italian. Which do you prefer? Now, see what I did there? I acknowledged that we had Mexican food last week, but I also reminded her that it has a big menu, so there are other things you can order. And if you don't like that, what about Italian? Which do you prefer? And you know me, I like to give customers, in this case my wife, options. So would you like to go Mexican with an expanded menu, or would you like Italian? Which would you prefer? Now she has to make a choice. Again, let's go back to the dining room, right? What color should we paint the living room, rather? And well, if we go with a white or an off-white, it'll be brighter in the room. But if you want something cozy, maybe something like a light brown or tan might be best. What do you think? And I turned it around again. You get the idea, right? So when they asked me, what should we plant in the backyards? I said, well, we can plant plants here, these type of bushes, or we can, let's say, a bed of roses. What are you leaning towards? And I always get an answer. And I always love this approach because I've used this a lot with my customers. People don't want to be told what to do. Listen carefully. When I told my wife brown, Mexican, that's almost like telling her what to do. And that's called reactance. In selling, it's called sales reactance. People love agency. I'll call it sales agency. Agency basically means the freedom to choose. We want the freedom we want options. That's the American way. We want options. We want agency. And when you don't give somebody agency, then you almost like you remove control, so they don't feel like they're in control. It's like you're telling them to do something. And I always remind you, my listeners, you know this, that the average salesperson practices what to say. But the best of the best salespeople practice what to ask. And notice what I did. Instead of just giving her an answer, where would you like to go to dinner? Mexican, that's just an answer. She said, where would you like to go to dinner? I said, well, we could do Mexican. We did it last week, but they do have an expanded menu, added something she didn't know or thought about, or we can do Italian. Which do you prefer? I gave her options. I gave her agency. I didn't stick her in the corner. And sometimes we do that to our customer. Customer says, what do you think I should do? You should do this. And the customer, whether you realize it or not, feels a little trapped in the corner. I always remind people of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. If you remember that book years ago, 30 years ago, before some of you were even born, It's a great book. Go pick it up. It is still great today. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. In there, I talk about the circle of influence. And if you think of a donut, you got the outside circle and the inside circle. The outside circle represents things we cannot control. And that is specifically other people's attitudes, how they respond, and in general, it's the market, it's politics, it's the economy. We can't control these things, so why worry about it? So the inner circle is the circle of influence. This is where we play. This is where we can control what we do. We can control how we think. That's our attitude. We can control what we do. That's our activities, right? We can control how we allocate our time. These are things we can't control. And in this context, you can control your behavior, how you respond to somebody by giving them options. So keep this in mind. When somebody asks you a question, even a customer, instead of giving them one answer to kind of telling them what to do, why don't you frame it as either A or B? Again, they ask you for your opinion on a specific piece of technology. You're going to come across as the wise old owl, and you're going to say, Mr. Customer, this is one option we have here, and it has A, B, C, D, E. But something else you might want to look at that may be more fitting for your company and the demand you're seeing today is this one over here that has F, G, H, I. Based on the 2 that I've shown you, which one do you think best fits your need today? Oh, see, that is giving the customer some sales agency and not jamming them in the corner so you get that sales reactant so they'll pull back. Keep that in mind and let me know what you think, because that is it for this Sales Influence podcast. Leave me some feedback on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Spotify, Pandora. We just keep growing. Let me know what you think. As always, I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, check out my online sales training platform, the Sales Velocity Academy. The courses are growing. The courses are immense. It is the giant toolbox to help you sell more effectively. So if you're serious about increasing your sales velocity, go to salesvelocityacademy.com. Lastly, I want to thank you for listening. This is Victor Antonio, always reminding you, selling ain't hard when you know how. Take care. Hi, I'm Victor Antonio. I'm an author, sales trainer, and keynote speaker. I'm often asked, what makes a great speaker? Is it someone who delivers real content that the audience can use? Is it someone who engages the audience so they're part of the learning experience? Or is it someone who can motivate an audience to push them beyond their comfort zone and discover new abilities? The answer is yes. But the most important thing to remember is that I'm not there to look good. I'm there to make my client look good. Simply put, it's never about me, and it's always about them.